Hey guys, Tisha here. So, one of you guys tagged me in an interview that was done by a Heather McDonald. I had the opportunity to watch it, and we did actually learn a couple of new things. One thing that I can say is some of the content I was like, okay, read the book because you would know all of this. And other parts I was like, okay, we're finding out some things here. We learned more in this, I don't know, 45-minute interview with her than we did in 4-part tell-alls with Christine. Christine was ready to deliver the information. And one of the key things that she did end up talking about towards the end was Isabel's surgery. I'm going to put the link below in the video so that you can watch it if you would like to do so. You guys know I like to give credit where it is due. My original plans were to do some type of recap about the bird and the need for the wives to come to her for her to get permission to be able to live happily ever after with Kody. But at this point, this seemed better. And this is just yet another example of why the bird looks foolish, because you say you don't want to disrespect these women, yet you condone the things that your husband does, like some of what we're going to hear in this. Say what? All because it's about you. I did it. I did it. It counts. All right. We find out that Christine's mom was the first of 2 wives, and after she left, that Christine's father never remarried. Kind of sounds like what may happen with Kody Brown. I don't know. Her mom already knew Kody because Christine had known him as early on as 18. She thought that Kody, was attractive and kind, and she knew Mary. She didn't really know Janelle until later on. But she wasn't completely surprised by the fact that Christine decided to go the polygamous route. However, Christine admits that she did not know until after she decided to leave that her mother didn't want her to get married. I guess her mother feared that if she told Christine the truth of how she felt about her marrying Kody, that it may have caused some issues with them. I'm sure she knew that Kody would have a problem with it and that Christine may have become defensive, because we see how Christine treated her aunt who was against polygamy on that episode where they had the debate. I did not like that side of Christine. She was very passive aggressive, very dismissive of her aunt. You would have thought that her aunt had did something against her, that she felt all this anxiety. But I think that some of that also had to do with Kody and wanting to make Kody see that she wasn't siding at all with her aunt. So her mother supported Christine because she wanted to respect her, but she did not think and still does not think that polygamy is a lifestyle that honors women. I really believe that there is a lot that these families go through that we're just not aware of, because Christine talks about how great her childhood was and how loving it was, but something with the moms and the fathers create a different type of experience for them. And I don't think it is just jealousy. I think there's a lot more to it. It seems to me like there's a certain level of counsel that is lacking with the branch that Christine is a part of, because I can't speak for all of them, because Kody has gotten away with so many different things that, to me, if he did have some spiritual counsel, he shouldn't have been able to get away with. Christine feels that despite what Kody says, like what we recently saw in the tell-all about him not ever loving her, she does feel like at some point that he did love her. And I just don't know what to think at this point. We've been told so many different lies and so many different variations of the truth from all of the Browns that I just don't know. I think that he may have loved her, but I don't know if he was in love with her, because as I said before, Kody's love seems to be conditional. So with that, can you ever really truly love someone? I don't know. Christine said that she found out basically at the same time we did, that Cody was not attracted to her because she found out from the book. This is not a conversation that he had with her prior to it being published. That's crazy. So did Cody forget that he wrote the book? Because that would mean that as early on as 2012, 2013, when this thing was published, that the kids had knowledge that he wasn't attracted to her. So it's not just Christine, Cody, it's you too. Christine was asked, why she didn't leave. Asked why did they leave the cul-de-sac? Because the cul-de-sac seemed like it was an ideal place, that, it was a great space because all the wives had their own, space, as well as the kids could just walk across the street to see one another, and that Cody didn't have to go through as much to go from house to house. And Christine says, I don't really know why we left the cul-de-sac. Some of my kids ask that question all the time, especially Aspen. Interesting that Aspen asked that question because we know that she was one of the older teenagers at the time that they did move to Vegas. And I said, okay, Christine, you're forgetting that y'all left the cul-de-sac because we were told that Cody and Robin no longer felt that Vegas was safe because of what happened at that nightclub in Vegas. This is what they used as the excuse. Cody even went further, if I recall, to saying that his intentions were never to be there permanently, which didn't make sense because why go through all the pain of getting these houses together and building a time capsule and planting a tree and all these other things that they did if you weren't planning on staying there? They left because of Robin, because of Dayton, because they saw Flagstaff before anyone else saw it. They knew this is where they wanted to go. Christine said she never really had a desire to go to Arizona, but she was being a team player. Once again, she was sacrificing for the family because that is what they're taught. They're taught that they are supposed to sacrifice, even though we're constantly being told that Christine wasn't a good sister wife by the bald eagle. Here's yet another time where she's sacrificing her happiness for the good of the family. So she left and she said she felt that Coyote Pass would be a good restart because despite what we've seen on TV, that in the cul-de-sac, their lives were very separate. I wonder what life was like when the cameras were off, because we're being told a lot that things weren't the way that they seemed. And I want to know if they want to make some money, if they want to put it out there, tell us the story. Kids, Christine, Janelle, even Mary, let us know what really went on, because we're invested at this point. We want to know. To me, you having to move to another place and being even further apart than you already were sounds like a joke. I don't understand how Christine felt that would unite them, but that was her thought process. Christine said for the first 15 years of her marriage, everything was okay as far as time was concerned. Then Robin came around and she noticed that the time that she got with her husband decreased significantly. She said she knew it would change because he was now in a 4-person rotation because of the additional wife, but he was still spending less time with her. But this person supposedly doesn't want to disrespect the other wives and the kids, but she knew she was monopolizing more time from Cody. She said it got to the point where, okay, in the beginning, I can understand that you're going to spend more time with her because you're trying to make sure that you get to know her kids as well as her, but it never evened back out. He would come to her house in the beginning every 4th or every 3rd night once Mary was eliminated from the rotation, but it would always be in the evening. And then he would hurry up in the morning, get up and leave. and he would have his car there at Robin's, so he didn't really leave. She even goes on later on in the interview to say that she doesn't know what Cody's occupation is, that he's very good at running all over the place and being chaotic, but she doesn't know what he does, which is interesting because I don't think all that time we kept hearing about this supposed marketing job that Cody had in Vegas, that at one point they all were doing. I don't think it was what they made it seem, because Cody never seems to have any roots or anything planted in anything, which is yet another reason why I feel like he's jealous of David Woolley, because David Woolley became what Cody has tried to become on his own. He's self-made, unlike Cody, who's had to get assistance through his wives. So she said that she noticed that he would hurry up and leave her house even on weekends, or he would come late to the house even on weekends when she knew that he didn't have to work. So where was he? And she'd look and she'd see that his car was at Robin's. In Flagstaff, she said it got to the point where she was tired of waiting around for him to come. So she started doing things with the kids, like going kayaking and hiking and all those other things. She mentions that she did not want the one house because to her, the one house meant that she would be trapped, that her children even suggested that she do not do the one house, which is, it just goes to show you that there's so much more that they were privy to than Cody realizes. She felt that it would be even worse because it would be in her face that Cody isn't even coming to see her, that it would become a point where they would have to go meet Cody wherever he was. She said he would never come to her section and she would not have anything in her name if the time came where she was ready to leave. This just shows how early on Christine started thinking about going, and she started getting her stuff in line. I wish she digged a little bit more into that, but she didn't. Okay, so let's get to the meat. We've heard multiple times the reasons why Christine left. And we all know that for her, she said the final straw in this interview was Isabel's surgery. I think his response pissed everybody off, all of America, people overseas, everybody that. So let me give y'all a recap. Isabel needed surgery for her spine, a surgery that they knew she was going to need as early on as the beginning of, I think, age 12 or 13. In season 15, episode 11, we see Cody come over to Christine's house. They meet out in the backyard because we know that Cody really hasn't been over there. He claims that Christine has been all over the place, having vacation and doing all these things. Meanwhile, him and his favorite wife is hunkered down in their home. Christine going on vacation was Christine spending time with her children. And he had a problem with that. He has to make sure that everybody comes outside. He's not going in the house because, according to him, they've been traveling and they've had exposure. She tells him, at this point, it has taken us 6 months to get insurance. And I said, okay, she's saying us, but really it's you. It took Christine 4 months to get insurance because Cody wasn't insuring the kids. Remember, we were told early on that the insurance was handled by Janelle and Cody by their jobs. They split it up. So now I guess because Cody didn't have a job, Christine had to get that insurance independently. I don't know what she went about doing it. I'm sure she went through some agency and it costs way more when you don't have a job to pay some of that premium, but whatever. So Isabel's curve is 50 degrees, over 50 degrees at this point. And they want to schedule a surgery for sometime in September. We know that she ended up having it in October, but they wanted to schedule it for sometime in September in New Jersey. They have to be in New Jersey on a Monday, and then the surgery would either be on the Wednesday or the Thursday. The plan would be for them to stay in New Jersey at her sister's house after the surgery for at least 10 days because they have to monitor to see how Isabel responds due to this surgery. Now, any normal father's reaction to this would be, okay, we'll get it done. Whether they have to work, whether it's a pandemic, whether They got to switch some things around, whether they have to, carpool here, catch a train, catch a bus, whatever. They're going to make it work. But that was not this father's response. Instead, Kody said, why don't we put it out 6 months because of the pandemic? Say, mother, bleep, 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 bleep. What? Y'all, I don't know. I don't know how this stuff comes out sometimes, but whatever. We're family, so just go with it. Your wife just told you that your child is in pain and has over 50% curvature of her spine, and you would like her to continue to be in pain for another 6 months, not knowing the future of her spine, as well as what is going on with the pandemic. Christine responded, because of her pain level is why we need to have this surgery and not push it out. He said, we're talking about New Jersey. That's basically New York. No, sir. New Jersey is New Jersey and New York is New York. He talks about how New York is a hot spot, that they've been safe this entire time here in Flagstaff. And then Christine calls BS. She says, no, Arizona is a hot spot now. So what are you talking about? I'm just reminding you of all the excuses that he came up with, you guys, during a time where his daughter needed him the most. Christine says she knows that getting a surgery during the pandemic isn't smart, but she's in pain and she cannot wait anymore. Christine says, okay, how about this? I'm willing to call the hospital to find out what cases are looking like, what the numbers and stuff there are looking like. And then he makes another excuse about how that is only half of the equation, because what about the exposure and the other constant exposure that they're going to have in the hospital? It's so interesting how this exposure mattered when it came to this surgery, but the exposure didn't matter when it came to taking the bird to the hospital when she had COVID, because he was afraid that her wings would be clipped. Remember, his wife was dying before his eyes. The dramatics of it all, even though she didn't require any type of assistance with breathing or any of those other things. So you were willing to risk exposure for that, but you weren't willing to risk exposure for your child that was having a 12-hour surgery that Christine had to admittedly have a $50,000 down payment for, that she went to the internet to request for people to buy things from Lululemon so that she can afford to do that down payment, because I'm guessing it didn't come from the family funds, even though we've been previously told that for medical expenses, it's supposed to come from the family budget. But Christine took care of this on her own. He said in his confessional, we've been struggling with this for 5 years, so why can't we wait longer? Who is we? The last time I checked, the person who was struggling was this now 17-year-old at the time of this event, who was sitting there looking at her father in desperation while he was trying to convince her not to do the surgery. Once again, he's making this about him because he can't understand why they wouldn't just wait a little bit longer. What is 6 months, according to him? He made this about the virus because he kept talking about the virus and not about his daughter or her needs. His daughter has been living between an 8 and a 9 pain level. Unlike Kody, Christine has seen this. And Christine said that at this point, she started complaining about it being an 8 or a 9 months ago. He claims he needs to be there, but we didn't see him go. He tells her, if it's September, I'm not going. Christine says, I'm trying to do what's right for Isabel. Y'all give me 1 second. Sorry. Y'all know I've been fighting something. I think I'm trying to come back. We're not claiming it. Excuse me for all the yuckiness. Y'all know I got my setup over here. He tells her if it's September, I'm not going. Christine says, I'm trying to do what's right for Isabel. He says, I understand we have to do what's right for Isabel, but I have to do what's right for the whole family, not just for what Isabel needs. Not just what for Isabel needs. Needs, not wants, needs. So her needs are not a concern of his. Instead, his wants for the family is his concern. Kody didn't do what was right for the family. He did what was right for him and the bird, because God forbid the bird and her little brats, sorry if you don't like me call them kids brats, but I'm going to call them brats. God forbid that the bird and her little brats went a couple of days, a couple of weeks without their father. He did not have to stay the entire time, even though any good father, if they could have, they would have. But he wasn't willing to go at all. Let me calm down. Kody did not go because he did not want to be away from Robyn and her 2 younger kids that long. He already let us know many times before that he had promised Robyn that he would not do that, as well as in the pandemic. Because even when he went to the wedding and he came back and supposedly had a COVID test and all that, he was like, he better pass because Robyn's going to kill him if he can't come back in that house. He went as far as suggesting they push it back even further, or have Isabel, who, as I said, is undergoing a 12-hour spinal surgery, go by herself. This is not, I'm going to get stitches. This is not, I'm going for a checkup. This is, I'm going to be put under anesthesia where they're going to cut me open, insert this, well, I don't think she did the titanium steel rod. I know she did some type of metal rods and strings and all this other stuff. Hers was not supposed to be as bad. She was supposed to have more mobility than the actual just steel rod. Either way, she was getting all this stuff done where they were going to be adjusting her spine through these wires, and she was going to be under anesthesia, and he was not willing to go. She starts crying at the thought of having to go through this by herself. And he just sits there like the clown that he is. She walks off because she's like, you all don't need me anymore, do you? And Christine tells her she can go ahead. Christine shows so much composure in that scene because I would have been on top of Kody like a cheetah, a monkey, a dog in heat. Take the dog in heat out. I'm just saying, I would have clobbered him. Like, I would have ran him over like a Mack truck. Okay, that sounds better than the other one. Oh, Lord. Anyways, he would have been dealt with. Let me continue. We see that it's about time for her to go. This is like season 16 by the time that she goes to have the surgery. I think she has surgery season 16, episode 5, where we see her in New Jersey and stuff. And before she leaves, he's like, you're not going to be a bitter housewife if I don't come, if daddy can't come. He then tells us that he wants her to hurry up and recover so he can feel better about it. Because as usual, we know it's always about him. He talks about how there's this healing element from having a parent there, but yet he didn't want to come. And if I recall, after the surgery, she was asking for her father. Apparently, off camera, because Christine tells us this in the interview. So I got y'all all up to speed to tell you, okay, I went through that whole reminder. Watched the clip real quick to remind myself of what happened in season 15. And apparently, off camera, he told Isabel that he cannot leave his family for that long. He said this to a then 17-year-old girl. His 17-year-old daughter, Isabel, tells her mother that she thought that she was part of his family. She said, I thought I was family. I thought that we were family. I thought that he was my dad. So he can't leave because he cannot be with us because he has to stay with his family. What does that mean? Who am I? Y'all put that into context. That you're 17 years old and you have to have this major surgery that's extremely scary, and all you want is for your parents to be there for you. And one of your parents basically tells you that he's not going because you're not important enough. Now, something similar was kind of shown on TV, but not to that degree. When Christine put it that way, and we hear that it comes from Isabel, it just hits differently. We saw Isabel being emotional, and we saw Isabel saying in confessionals how he's allowing, the strong man is allowing the fear of the pandemic to get to him. But I think the pandemic aspect of it was an excuse. I feel like he just did not want to go. I don't feel like he wanted to be with Christine that long, and I don't feel like he wanted to be away from Robin that long. Christine said that for her, once Isabel told her that he said that, she was like, okay, we're done. I cannot be married to a guy that does not respect us as his family. Why is he pretending that this thing called polygamy works when he can't even leave his family for his daughter? I think that I know that this had a lot to do with it. We know the no, I'm not having intimacy thing anymore does too, but I think that this really had a lot to do with it. Christine said that they were gone for a total of 3.5 weeks. And as I said before, he did not have to stay for those 3.5 weeks. Let's add that even though her other siblings had jobs and lives and things of that nature, we did see that, I know my boo, y'all know I love Hunter. Hunter was there. I think that Mitch was there. Maybe Peyton. I don't want to call everybody, but I know that some of Janelle's kids and some of Christine's kids were there for Isabel in New Jersey after she had the surgery. Cody did not care, but her siblings did. And even with the whole thing when she came back, Janelle was the only parent that I remember offering to come over to the home and help with Isabel if Christine needed to get some rest. So we see which two sister wives had each other's backs during this situation. Cody is the reason why his family doesn't work. And I really know that this surgery was the final nail in the coffin for Christine to really start getting things in order. And this surgery also, to me, was another reason why he continued to have even more complications with his older kids. This one was a little bit longer, you guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'm on the road to 1,000. I appreciate you for your time. We're getting closer and closer to my first initial goal, and it wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you all. So until next time.